Hunt of Smart Space Instant Buildings, and I'd like to tell you how we can help you get all the space you need delivered and installed at your premises in just 7 to 21 days from now. If you've ever hired space in a warehouse before, or indeed if you've ever hired a building such as the type we supply before, then you'll know that from the off the onus is on you to not only make a minimum commitment to keep the building for a period of time, but also you have to pay for periods of time in advance too, which means obviously you're potentially thousands out of pocket before you've even had the building installed. Now, we don't operate like that at all. In fact, we operate in exactly the opposite way. First and foremost, we deliver the building and install the building at your premises on the strength of your company order number. So obviously you're not paying a single penny in advance for starters. But better than that, once you've got the building on site, then it's simply yours there to keep for as little or long as you want, because there are no minimum term contracts to sign. So the advantages to you there are that you're not committing for any periods of time in advance, and whether you keep the building for a matter of months or even years, as many of our customers do, then you're only ever 7 days away from basically terminating the hire agreement. So fundamentally there are a number of advantages there, because you get to control exactly what you spend. You're under absolutely no pressure or obligation to keep the building for any period of time. So the moment you finish with it, you pick up the phone and say, "I've finished, come and take it away." On top of that, the way we actually operate is that, as you're probably aware, when we quote you, we quote for an installation charge, which, as I've said, is payable when the building is installed. But what we also then do is offer you what we call delivery credits, which basically means that every 6 months you actually get credited back 15% of the amount you paid on the installation charge against your weekly hire invoices. And this enables you to claim up to as much as 75% of the installation charge if you keep the building for 3 years or more. So at 6 months, for instance, we credit you the first 15%, and then at 12 months you get another 15%, and so on, right the way until you get up to 3 years. But as I say, there is absolutely no obligation for you to keep the building for that period of time anyway. On top of that, we also offer what I call our fanatical service pledge, which means that first and foremost, with every new customer or every new job that we take on, we supply you with a brand new high-end digital camera, which is yours to keep forever. And this isn't a gimmick. It's there because we've found through experience that if there are ever any situations that arise in terms of maybe a fork truck smashes into one of the walls of the building, or indeed if a lorry reverses into the building, which has happened, then straight away you can obviously take a picture of the damage, send that through to Andy, our operations manager, and that will enable him then to assess the damage and to send the staff along to repair that damage. And another part of our fanatical service pledge is that if, having done that, if for any reason we fail to turn up and repair that damage or rectify the problem within 24 hours of the agreed time, then we'll give you a week's free hire. So that's something else that's worth bearing in mind. We're not simply in the business of bringing you the building along and hoping never to hear from you again. That's not the way it is at all. As well as which, the range of buildings that we actually have them in stock. We don't sort of have to rely on an order, to then go and buy in a building, because we actually fabricate all of our buildings ourselves. And so, as you can probably imagine, over the several years that we've been doing this now, we've built up quite a substantial stock holding. So this is another reason that we can guarantee to have you up and running within 7 to 21 days of your order, if it's an emergency or if it's a bit of a last minute rush. The range of buildings that we have are all purposely designed as industrial buildings, and what that means is that they have the necessary calculations for the wind and snow load, which will enable you to pass through the planning control, and will also enable you to satisfy the building controls officer. So you've absolutely no worries about the strength and the integrity of the buildings. The buildings start, the standard high range of buildings start with the smallest being 5 meters wide, and then they go up in 2.5 meter widths right the way up to 20 meters. So there's plenty of choice there in terms of the overall width of the buildings, and because they're modular and sectionalized, then literally you can have any length you need. Also, we offer a range of side heights, because the buildings that we use they're used for a wide range of applications, right from things like office space, where obviously side height is not really an issue, so we normally supply those on our lowest side height, which is 2.4 meters, and then we go right the way up to 6.2 meters, which enables you to maximize the volume, which of course is important if you're racking out the buildings. So in a nutshell, that's basically how we can help you quickly and cost effectively on the hire front. But it may be that you're looking for something longer term, and this is something that more and more of our customers have looked into, and because of that we created or introduced a range of more permanent buildings, and these buildings have become immensely popular, not least because of the price. In fact, one particular customer of ours, who was a hire customer, actually had bought a building office, a 10,000 square foot building, which was 50 meters by 20 meters, and he actually told me himself that he saved £778,000 compared to the cost of a conventional building. Now, when I talk about conventional buildings, what I really mean is a building that requires footings and foundations, and generally a building that is made using an I-section steel section. Where now the way we fabricate our buildings is that they're made using cold rolled steel, and they're made using a C-section. And the important thing here is that we actually only use approximately 1/13 of the amount of steel that you would use on a normal I-section building, and so consequently they cost at least 13 times less, even though they have full static calculations once again to meet building control, and we can also supply them to be part L2 compliant. So you know, the way there are changes happening all the time now in terms of energy efficiency and carbon gases and a whole range of other issues, and these buildings, our more permanent range of buildings, they can basically be clad in whatever material is required to satisfy, you know, the local planning department, the building controls officer. So you'll get full static calculations. And I suppose when you look at all that and see the fact that we can actually literally take you from order to installation in 28 days or less, coupled with the fact that they cost approximately 1/13 of the cost of what I call a conventional building, then you can probably quite easily see why they are becoming so popular. These can be supplied just like our hire buildings are, as a standalone unit, or indeed they can actually be attached to an existing building. So they become a very, very cost-effective means of extending. We're also able to clad the buildings in any existing colours that you may have, so there are going to be no issues on that front whatsoever. So all in all, I believe we've got an awful lot to offer you. Whichever option you're looking at, whether you're considering hiring or buying, both options are very, very fast. Both options are very, very cost effective, and we like to think that we do our absolute utmost to look after people, and that's what I hope that we have the chance to do with you. So if you'd like to take things further and get a little bit more information from us, there are a couple of links on the website that you'll see where you can see a couple of case studies, or alternatively you can hit the instant quotation button, and we'll get back to you shortly with a quotation. So I hope to hear from you soon, and I really hope we have the opportunity to work together. Thanks very much. Bye bye.